Welcome to Band Scamps, an in-depth look at albums and releases by West Michigan artists. Hosted by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez. This week on Band Scamps, Dan and Julio review Serendipity by Blushing Monk and Underground by Moto.
Ooh, that was sick.
That was good.
That was fire.
I thought you were gonna rap a freestyle, but you gotta somebody just go with the standards. You know?
I know. Yeah. I mean, maybe next time.
Hello, internet, and welcome
We're here.
to Band Scamps, episode
14.
14.
Whoa.
Yeah, I have a hard time remembering it. Viewers, we are live. Everything looked good. I think we're good. I think I'm on screen. We're good. We got the 3 camera. We got the cross shot here.
Ooh, crossfire.
I can even, for a fact, I can come over here.
You got caught up in the.
I get in your mic, and then we have the tech shot over here for all the techies. There we go.
Look at that.
That one's pretty good too. I like this shot too. Maybe we gotta do this.
This is that's like the shot that you would show, like if you were a cop and I was like being interrogated. Like this is like the footage that you would show of me being like cracking and being like, okay, I did it.
Yeah, we could do a bunch of interrogate. We should interrogate bands on the podcast. Do you think bands would be into that?
I think it's more funny if we just do it without their consent.
They think it's gonna be fun, and it's just an interrogation.
Oh my gosh.
This is episode 14.
We're in person still.
We're in person still. We got a camera set up here. Let's go back to the better shot while we're in it, and remind me, because I don't want to keep it on that for too long. Hey everybody, what's going on?
Man, this is just crazy. Like I feel like this is just getting more and more fun and better each time, and it's really just like exciting.
It really is, and it sounds good. It looks good. Shout out to Sweetwater for the gear. Shout out to the internet for supplying us with the info.
Right.
And we're just kind of do this every week.
Every week now.
Every single week. This is episode 14. This is going to be review number 26 and 27, right?
Whoa.
Is that true?
Yeah,
No.
No, even
We're
more
even
now.
We're in 28, 29. I don't even know.
We might be in the 30s by now.
We might be to where I'm like totally losing track of everything about
We're going to be in the 30s because last episode we did 4 singles. So.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so that boosted us like cray.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.
So we have. You want to just jump right into it? This might be a long one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's get right into it. We have 2 albums that we're reviewing per status quo. This is by a band called Blushing Monk. The album's called Serendipity, and it came out February 9th of last year, 2020.
Okay, awesome. So this is an early 2020.
Pre-pandemic. Post 9/11.
Post 9/11, pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
We haven't had many pre-pandemic albums, huh?
We've had a couple, but
Okay.
this has mainly been like, that was kind of like our jumping off point, was talking about like music that was made in 2020 in quarantine.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this still fits. You know, it's a little bit pre what we're talking about, but I think all the events leading up to this is relevant. You know?
Yeah, and it affects the life and energy of the record because, you know, you didn't get to play live to promote it.
Definitely.
No, like, release show.
Right. This is another one of those records where they probably had a whole release planned for it and everything.
Maybe even a tour. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, totally. So do you want to jump into first impressions? I'm trying to think of how to... maybe we should disclose. This came to us as a package, right?
Right. Full disclosure moment. If you got your bingo card in front of you,
I guess this counts as a full disclosure moment.
This is full disclosure for sure.
I was trying to think. I was like, where does this line up in the grand scheme of
we're kind of double
you know?
dipping here.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Me too.
So, Dutcher, we were on his show recently.
We were.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
He submitted both these records. We did the Earth Radio one, and then we needed a bit of a break, I think, from his work to do something else. Now we're back at it.
We're back at it with
Blushing Monk.
Yes, which is I was actually surprised at how different the records were. So yeah, let's get right into first impressions.
Very much so. First impressions, I think that with full disclosure, and because we are aware of this guy's work, we know that there was a little bit of going to be a jazz influence or whatever. But this actually struck me as a lot more on the jazz side than I was expecting. This is like
a jazz record.
It's straight up a jazz record.
It's straight up a jazz record. I was expecting kind of similar Earth Radio things like, brewery music, kind of like jam band vibes. But this is like straight up just jazz record.
Oh, as always, we always want to remind listeners, listen to the records before
Please.
you go any further.
Pause now if you haven't. We'll still be here.
And we're back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, do you want to do the "and we're back" part? Because I love that part.
No.
So let's talk about the art too. The artwork of this album is kind of cool. It's like kind of native futurism.
Yes. And more liner note stuff here, done by local musician Emily Petersmark of the Crane Wives.
No kidding.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I did not know that. I didn't recognize their art off the bat, but now that you mention that, I totally see it. Emily's great.
Yeah, fantastic artist overall, fantastic person, and another Korean adoptee. So
yeah, I have a few Korean adoptee buddies. I do. I think that there's like, I don't know if we've ever talked about this before. I feel like there's a little bit of a similarity between biracial people and like adopted people.
Totally. Yeah, especially like for folks like you who are part white, part Paraguayan.
I was in touch with both cultures, you know, and I think like a lot of adoptees that are of a different race being adopted by white people kind of experience that too, like kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah,
and in much different ways,
for sure. But it is there is kind of like this almost like unspoken kind of like bond, or like you kind of just get along on a different unspeakable level.
Yeah, I've got I've got quite a few very close friends that are Korean adoptees, and Emily's a new buddy of mine too. It's awesome that was their art. So it's got kind of like a native futurism to it.
Yeah, native futurism. It's, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's kind of ethereal. And,
it's ethereal. It's got like power lines, right? But it's got like this like kind of inner vision of like a heart kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah, but I think that's even that art kind of lends itself to more my expectations of maybe like a more hippie kind of like vibe.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that album art like was misleading to what I thought it.
I think it was too, and I think I have another point about the album art that I think we can get back to at some point. Sure. But like, no, but I want to talk about this now. But remind me though,
okay,
in case I don't get to it. But yeah, the album art right away has given me a lot of impressions, and even second and third impressions. So for better or worse, it's kind of powerful, you know.
Yeah.
So let's get right into the music right away.
All right. First song is called Urban Rush.
Perfect.
And my first note is just jazz.
Yep, I wrote my first note is jazz, obvious jazz.
It's just jazz, and I was like, whoa.
Okay, so
like unmistakable, not jazz influence, but 100%. Like jazz.
Yeah. Does that that kind of brings me to a point that I'm like, okay, do we have like the vocabulary and muscle to talk about this music?
And I have a lot of good talking points about this because it is like reviewing jazz is kind of like it's like the next level of like being a music critic.
So like maybe like me and you aren't going to have the knowledge to talk about this music specifically, but we can definitely add to the conversation the fact that we might not be able to talk about it can be part of the conversation.
If these guys are like cool, kind of like how Dutcher is, and like understanding of like different kind of musicians, I think they're actually gonna get a lot out of this conversation that we're gonna have about this.
I hope so. It makes me nervous. I actually got nervous listening to this music yesterday.
I did too at first, and then I kind of went on some mental journeys.
So like part of me is saying like, okay, like maybe I'm worried about this being a genre that we're not as familiar with, you know, but maybe it's a good chance to flex a muscle that we don't know we have about this genre.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like right away, also, I was excited to hear jazz because I'm kind of getting into jazz a little more. I've been watching a lot of like jazz musician YouTube videos and like theory videos and stuff. And so it's kind of just been in my periphery of like interests I've been, looking into. I
think jazz is one of the greatest American contributions of music, of any art form. Jazz is so fascinating that, like, I don't know, it's so much has been said about it. Like, what are we going to say about jazz?
That's the thing is, and I want to we'll get to my talking points later because they'll make more sense later on.
So we can at least try to talk about jazz, right?
Right. Going back to the point though, this is they have a shared member of Dutcher. This record, along with Earth Radio's record Reanimate, are both like really well recorded and like really solid playing.
Yeah, I think for the most part the playing is all definitely super passable, and like I have notes on whatever there is worth it, from a rock musician of content.
Yeah.
But I think it does sound pretty good. And I think I'm going to say off the bat, this sounds great. This is jazz music. I'm not familiar with it, but I think I can still be nitpicky, right?
Absolutely. And I have some speculations on maybe how jazz should be recorded.
Okay,
too.
sure. Yeah.
Because I was kind of like thinking, I'm going to jump ahead of myself here, but
do it out. I was thinking the same thing too.
Like jazz to me is such like a visceral experience. And there's so much like energy and like vibes that you share, even just like being in the same room as like jazz being played. And I almost think and wonder if jazz should be recorded as like a live thing only. And like, or at least having the musicians all be in one room together.
Okay. Do you think that's not how this happened?
I'm not sure, and I don't think that was because
what makes you think that? So maybe we're getting really ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's start track right away. So one thing I want to point out is that I wrote, I'm going to listen to this and then come back to it, which I normally don't do.
Yeah. I actually revisited it today.
Okay, so this starts off with a really nice eases into it kind of phrase or riff or whatever you call it. And jazz heads, please, I want you to be
please clarify.
I want them to look right in our own cameras here, please understand that we are not jazz musicians, don't know how to talk about this. But right away, it's got a really nice little phrase and riff.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the realm of jazz ensemble music that I like.
Same. It's got like this nice little modulation to it. It's like a line, but then it kind of, it's an unexpected kind of change in key.
And I have right here, this is a nice phrase and riff, it's this is more leaned into the jazz than I was kind of expecting it to be.
Yeah. And like also right away, I was worried because I was thinking this could either be really cool or we could just be listening to the Weather Channel for like 40 minutes.
Like the stand-up bass sounds nice at this first track. My first impression of it, that kind of changes actually. But right away, I kind of like the stand-up bass. I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds pretty nice.
This bass player was actually my favorite aspect of this whole record.
Okay, interesting.
This bass player, I think, rips.
Okay, I think, I didn't really like... We'll have to get back to bass again, but okay.
In this first song specifically,
I agree. Towards
with the end too, he's like rocking that like dun, 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 dun.
like you're saying the playing and stuff.
Yeah, the playing. I think he's a really solid player, and like I felt like I could actually hear his energy.
Yeah.
Versus like some of the other folks, it was kind of, boring.
Okay, so I think that all does sound nice. Like the bass sounds nice. Whatever that Rhodes or Wurlitzer kind of like lead that comes in is nice. It's got a pretty typical jazz structure where it has like a riff, right? They all play. It's more complicated than you think it is, and they kind of all have their like
that little solo section or whatever. It does have that little synthy organ, which I liked in the song, which is not like a typical jazz sound.
Yeah, there was a
cool
synth thing that came in. I do write at about 3 minutes and 30 seconds in the song, and I do write this keys sound is sort of funny.
They do sound funny. It sounds like a very like kind of Casio sound, but I really like that because I want jazz to be more experimental like that.
Yeah,
in a more like sonic way versus like theory way.
At this point, I kind of write the limitations of that stand-up bass is becoming obvious. There was a lot of like auxiliary noise that got captured that I know is the trademark of that instrument, but it was like, I don't know if that instrument is sitting well with me. And even though his playing's really good, like I agree with you, but honestly, I was so distracted by the tone of the bass that I did not even think about how good of a player they were.
So my takeaway from this that I kind of realized after I listened to the record was that I think, at least the way that this ensemble seems to be set up, is that everyone kind of expertise is in a certain like frequency. Yeah. And I think the bass is like really supposed to stay within that really low, almost inaudible kind of lows. And the drums are kind of like these low mids.
There's a ton of great interaction between the drums and the bass. Really nice. There's a lot of things that line up really, really good. Really nice drumming too on here. I just mean like the limitations of an acoustic bass. You know?
I felt like that he was like tactile enough that it was exciting for me.
Fair. So I think we're split on that. This is kind of free jazz-ish, It kind of gets into like a proggy free jazz territory that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that they're interested. They obviously know their jazz,
Right.
Like this kind of has like that 50s kind of jazz ensemble jazz combo feel. It kind of goes into some more freaky stuff. It goes into this like synthy thing.
There's a lot. Yeah, you can tell these folks have a lot of different influences.
Yeah.
In the type of the music they listen to and play maybe in their free time.
I think they're trying to make a point that we know jazz and we're playing jazz. So this is for jazz people who like jazz.
But I don't necessarily think they get there and that trying to make that point.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. On this first track, there's a really nice back end of the phrase. It goes right back into that first phrase again.
Yeah.
And it's really tight, and you know. But I mean, here's the thing, though, is that like you and I know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we don't add 89s to everything. Maybe we don't do this, but we know how to be like, I look at you and you look at me. 1, 2, 3, 4. We play that part again.
Exactly.
You know? Like, we know how to do that.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it's really good. And the drummer and the bass player have a lot to do with how tight that is. Nice drumming on here.
Yes. I have some critiques, but overall, the playing is really, really good.
I do. I a lot of reverb in the snare.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Overall, just like the energy of the drums, maybe I think this is more how they were recorded, but like I don't think the dynamics really came through. I think they were all just kind of like in the same place the whole time.
It all pops, really. It all pops.
Yeah.
But there's like, I wish it wasn't always just popping at me.
And that contributed to my issue with like not feeling the energy.
It really becomes more prominent, I think, at the end of the song.
Yeah.
You know how there's a kind of bass and drum section at the end? I noticed, I'm like, this is really prominent right now.
Yeah.
Man, I think we're spot on that one, too.
Yeah.
Overall, I like this.
Yeah, overall, I mean, I've had that like that horn line stuck in my head all day.
Yeah, overall, I'm ready to really enjoy it. It has a lot of like kind of like Chicago underground jazz scene stuff too, like in the mellowness of like whatever the trumpet and the saxophone. And everybody, if I'm wrong, please, we're gonna do album credits at the end of this segment, but please don't hold it against me.
Yes,
if I get the instruments wrong, you know what I mean.
So far, you're right.
Okay, trumpet and saxophone.
Yeah.
Okay. What else, man? Miles Davis-y?
Miles Davis-y for sure.
The
yeah,
horns in there, like reminds me of some of theirs.
Yeah, it's not Bitches Brew yet, but you can tell they like that record.
It even sounds like some of like the bop stuff, you know, like even like some of the early stuff, or not early, but some of like the 50s shit. You know, it really reminds me of that early 60s. You want to go to the next song?
Yeah, it's groovy. Yeah, let's go to the next song.
You got a track title for us?
Blushing Monk.
Okay, this is
eponymous
the
song.
the title track. Man, I'm gonna touch up my my video real quick. I feel like I can get a little bit nicer on the white balance here.
Listeners and now viewers, please tell, and film majors in general, and videographers, please tell us why there's always a white balance and not a brown balance.
Never a brown
balance? We
balance?
need to know this. As two brown people,
I want to see a black balance.
I would love to see a black balance.
No black balance.
At least a brown balance, though. Come on.
Come on.
Stay woke, folks.
Yes, stay woke. Let's go to the next song. So, Blushing Monk.
Blushing Monk. This one starts out with this
bass.
kind of bass thing, and I am here for it.
Really?
I love it.
I thought it sounded like washboard bass.
I think I liked it because I appreciate that they're trying to find new sounds. And like they're exploring their instrument and they're having fun.
I feel like that's kind of a hard sell. Like honestly, like for me, only because it sounded so like all I heard was the limitations of stand-up bass. You know, and maybe they're trying to explore that, right? You know, I'm totally willing to think that, like, okay, they're trying to just explore what are the limitations of this instrument and what can we
exactly.
push, right?
That's the thing. It's like, that you can't. Like, creativity is often born from limitations,
Right. So maybe that's just me being a pessimist, right?
Right.
Okay.
just like straight up
acknowledge that. Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing.
I felt like it was making it fall short a bit because of that bass.
Really, I really enjoyed that.
So okay.
All right.
Well, so I mean, I'm not going to harp on that. I'm not going to harp on that. But listener, I think this is a problem I'm going to have throughout the whole record is the stand-up bass. Is the choice to only do stand-up bass.
Otherwise, though, when everything kicks in, I mean, it really moves well. I think this is a cool song.
Yeah,
this is
the horns. I got horns.
Yeah.
Boom. More Miles.
Yeah.
Nice orchestra. You know, I
It's lush and nice.
I do enjoy this overall.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was like, jazz is such a. You have to tread so lightly in it, just because of not only the people who listen to it, but just by my inexperience and like, how do you how do you critique jazz?
It's hard. It's hard.
know?
It's like maybe how I talk about how like it's hard to talk about rap music unless you can rap yourself.
Yeah.
Like maybe jazz is like that. Or if you're like a real big head, there's people that have been listening to jazz and like they're always like, and that was blah 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 with this and there. That featured this guy.
They're always
they
like,
know
ooh.
everybody. They know everyone on the record.
Yeah.
They know what label put it out. They know what year it came out.
Yeah, they're always like, oh yeah, I jammed with that guy back when I was at Berkeley or whatever.
I like jazz, man.
Me
I like
too.
it, but like I don't know it enough to pretend like I do. And I never put myself in a position to have to like defend my knowledge of jazz. And so it's kind of awkward to be in this position kind of right now.
That's the thing is like I feel with jazz musicians, like they don't care if you like it or not in some ways because they're just like you're not gonna get that.
You're not hip enough to get it.
Yeah,
that's how it used to be.
Right.
People that play jazz aren't very hip these days, though.
No.
At least not around here. But if you go to other cities where there's big jazz scenes, there are some like hip ass motherfuckers that are playing stuff.
I mean, jazz clubs are straight like they're fucking cool.
Yeah, there's a new one that
it's
went
a cool
downtown.
vibe.
There's a black one.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
Yeah, I will too.
I went to Smalls a few years ago when I was in New York, and that was sick.
This has like a. I'm gonna say this. The snare is a little too loud for me on this whole thing.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit too loud.
That I felt like indifferent to the snare. It was more kind of like the cymbal work that I was like I actually needed more cymbals.
Okay.
I feel like jazz is really like cymbal heavy. It really relies on that.
The hand with the ride and the high hand.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I was noticing was that it was just like maybe a little bit too lacking of the higher stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
the snare was popping out like crazy.
Yeah, they were really going for the snappiness, which I think they got, but in that way they kind of eliminated some of that like nuance you get from like softer hits or ghost notes or whatever.
Yeah. Some jazz guitar in here, huh?
Yes, okay. Something okay, let's talk about this. Let's just get into this because like I was thinking about this even more today.
Okay.
And I had some like revelations maybe. So obviously like jazz tone is kind of like this, it's like a trope now. It's like a funny thing. Like, ooh, it's like this jazz like it sounds like
you mean like the actual like nature of the tone of the guitar itself.
Yeah, like jazz like guitar tone is like solid state amp direct in. Like that's what it is.
It's always a hollow body of some sort.
Yeah, it's always a hollow body. It's never like it's never cool. There's never any breakup. It's always just like
it's hard to play.
It's hard to play, and it's
is that what it is though? Is it just hard to play?
It's hard to play.
And we don't like it.
It just doesn't sound pleasing to me. But here, that wasn't my problem with this guitar. My problem was that I felt like I could hear too much of the pick.
Oh.
Which is so nitpicky, but like I felt like I was like hearing too much of like auxiliary kind of things.
Do you think his like pickup was picking that up, or do you think that it was like
I think it was like his pickup.
Room.
I think it was his pickup, and he's probably not playing at a loud enough volume on his guitar. He probably rolled it off a little bit to warm it up.
Okay.
And it was just, I was hearing a little too much like tactile noise of him like moving around the guitar.
I have written here like, what will Dan think about this lick? Well,
yeah.
Like, I wanted to know. I definitely wanted to know. Like, what does Dan think?
But at the same time though, I was complaining about energy. So
okay.
But I don't think like the way that he's hearing the pick, it didn't sound like he was like digging in. It just sounded like he was just kind of like sloppy almost.
There was some nice variation in it, I don't know.
The actual like the music of it was good, but it was just like that like weird kind of like tactile sensation that was really bothering
That's
me.
what I feel like the bass was doing for me this whole time. I felt like it was doing this weird thing where it was like trying to like show off like yes it is a stand-up bass. Like I get it, the stand-up bass, and it sounds worse because of in my opinion.
I think it works with the bass just because it's more of like a rhythmic element versus the guitar is trying to be more melodic here.
Sure.
And you're adding kind of like you can hear these like scrapes and kind of just like him kind of like fretting in a weird spot on the neck or something. Very nitpicky, but I think this will matter to them.
Yeah, and it's another decent song. So like I have a note here just about jazz in general. It's like jazz is like a great mood music, and it's like when it's like really really high doses of jazz, when it's like all jazz, but when it's only a little bit jazzy, like it just like straight up takes away my excitement about the music. When there's like some jazz. I mean, some bands do it well. Steely Dan comes up.
Yes.
I like that. and that's only a little bit jazz, but they really lean into it when they are jazz. But sometimes there's like this jazz fusion like situation that I do not like, and luckily I'm happy that this is more on the jazz side.
Me too.
You know?
Yeah, but I think even by this time, I just made a weird noise. Sorry. Even by this time, I was just like, oh, you know what, like this is actually really nice.
Yeah.
But then I got like concerned because I was like I feel like I need to enjoy this in order to like understand this and like really kind of like listen more mindfully.
Wait, so you needed to enjoy it
or not enjoy it, but like more just like really need to like try to vibe with it versus like analyze it.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do is like a little bit of both.
That's why I did put like, you know, I was like, when I listened to this, I was like, okay, like listen to it, put it down. I kind of came back to my notes, everything. Yeah. So I am glad I liked this more than I thought I did.
Me too.
I would.
Yeah. I don't
I just want to get a good beat of silence.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Nice horn arrangement. Like the arrangements on here is really nice. Like I know this kind of stuff. You got to kind of sit. I'm sure they sit down. They're like, okay, we're gonna play this, and then this. Ooh, I'm gonna go to this. Oh, perfect. And they write it all out, probably, right? And they all get a copy of the sheet music and shit. You know. So someone arranged this.
Someone arranges it, and that's like really impressive. Really cool.
Do a cutaway. Hey, let's give away to this camera. Hey.
Ooh.
Yeah, someone arranged all this.
Yeah. I know that on like the trumpets, it's Brad Fisher of Brad Fisher's Mood.
Okay, awesome.
I've never seen Brad Fisher live, but I've always wanted to because he's one of the few like I feel like kind of gigging music.
Yeah,
like
to my
musicians.
knowledge, no longer lives in town here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, jazz is not big in this city.
It's not.
I have that note too that like there's not a lot of jazz in the city, so it's hard to talk about it maybe to a certain extent because we don't have a lot of experience.
All we really have is like that monthly jazz thing at Founders.
I went to a thing one time to see a Theo play at like Hopcat.
Okay.
Did a thing.
Yeah.
I would love to know more. I think, you know what,
Yeah.
I was thinking about jazz. I could hang on drums.
Yeah.
That's the only instrument I could play. I could be like, we need somebody. I'd be like, I can play drums, and I actually think I could. I actually could like really hang and just do it. Like I could like learn some standards and learn like how people play and just do it. You know,
Totally.
but it's hard.
It is hard. Jazz is hard, but jazz heads, please, can we be part of your group? We do love jazz.
Yes, they're
and like, can we
they're
just?
not gonna let us be in their band.
No, not in like their band.
Oh,
but like, can we be in the community? Can we
in
be
the
in the
jazz
community?
thing?
Yeah,
I think we could. I think we can do that. We're gonna have to learn some chords.
Yeah, I mean, I can probably flat my third and.
You can probably play some keys. I don't know. I have no idea. It's daunting, huh?
It is daunting.
It's daunting music. Horn arrangement, great. These drums, I have frowny face. Like I think I started turning.
To me, and I think we'll find this out later on as we listen to the records. I feel like every drum beat's kind of the same in the song. They're like crazy busy, which is fine, but I feel like it was, and it's weird because there's two drummers on this record, but I felt like it was all just kind of the same drums.
Two drummers.
Yeah.
Simultaneously?
No, sorry.
Okay.
Like one drummer played on like I think the first and last song, and then like the middle one.
I was like, man, do I have to like go back and listen to this again?
Thank God there weren't two drummers simultaneously. That would have been. I think I probably would have fainted. You know,
so at this point in this record, we're only in track 2, and I'm kind of in the mood now where I think I'm gonna like mostly like what I have to say about this record, and anything that I do say here is gonna be just me nitpicking.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So well done on that.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Unless you have nothing else.
I wrote that, but I don't know if it stayed true. That's the thing that I'm now analyzing my own critique and being like, really, is that really what you think about this?
Right.
Because I think it's possible that is not what I think about this.
Well, you could mention it and saying like, this is what I felt in the moment.
Well, I think I just did.
Okay.
Serendipity.
This is here is the title track of the record. We had the title of the artist track, Blushing Monk, and now we have Serendipity, title track of the record. I mean, first of all, like,
go ahead.
You're looking at the Bandcamp page, at least I am, and you see the daunting 9 minutes.
Yeah,
and
the
you're
whole
like,
thing was kind of in that vein.
And you're like, all right, here we go. Here's the thing though.
Okay.
I love this song. I think it's sick.
Yeah, it has like kind of a piano ballad start, right?
Yeah.
And I have here smooth jazz, and like kind of like sideways frowny face, and I don't know what made me feel that, but like right away I think I was like anti this song.
That's interesting because when I heard that, I was like, "Ooh, I'm in."
Okay.
Because I was like, "This is like cool, like kind of they're like incorporating different genres in a way." Like this felt more like ballady, like almost
So, like,
Billy Joel-y kind of.
Electronic piano.
I love it.
Is that what it was? Electronic piano.
Yeah, it's like a bendy kind of pad thing. I'm into it.
I think that I didn't like.
I love it.
We're gonna be split on this one. I think the rest of this record.
Yeah.
This kind of music used to kind of turn people off, like,
Yeah.
like smooth jazz. But somewhere along the lines, like the hippies and people started like embracing it. You know what I mean? And it is actually a pretty heady music. You know, it actually is pretty like complicated and like there's a lot of weird. Like if you want to play music like this, it's actually very hard to do.
Absolutely.
It's like hard to make it sound cheesy.
Yeah.
I think it sounds a little cheesy. But it's hard.
It is.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, granted, like so does Steely Dan sounds like pretty cheesy sometimes
100%.
too.
I think they're a lot better at than this band is, but
Yeah.
it's like trying to achieve that type of sound is not easy to do for everybody.
Right.
So it sounds easy to play, right? But the payoff is not exactly like the craziest height of music expression or enjoyment.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's a really interesting genre.
It is, and I for this song specifically, I was like, that's interesting. They include this kind of different piano beginning because I feel like that's them like an olive branch to the non-jazz head in a way. Like saying like, hey, like we're gonna like we'll bring you in softly here with like this kind of like interesting like pretty piano, and then like horns come in and it's like, oh, we're in jazz now.
Okay, yeah. It does kind of go in there,
Yeah.
I know people like get pleasure out of this kind of jazzy music, but I do wonder sometimes if these people, like if like not these people, like jazz people, like assume that that's like the height of music enjoyment is like that type of is their particular genre that they make. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's weird to me. Yeah, like if this is like their peak, like this is my music. Like,
right.
I enjoy this more as just like, oh, this is some music.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of music, like, it's nothing. We're not breaking any ground here, right?
No.
Okay.
Especially with that, like when the actual piano comes in, it's like very like Vince Guaraldi.
Yeah. I started getting hung up on like why electronic piano? Why stand up bass? I mean, that's probably the instrument they're comfortable with, right? It's what they play in the band is straight up like electronic piano,
Yeah.
but. I don't know. I kind of. It started getting to me.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like, and kind of to that point, too, though, like, there are some songs that I think, like, in jazz would really benefit from an electric bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, a lot of jazz, like, traditional jazz folks are kind of very anti-electric bass, but, like, electric bass can actually offer a lot of really cool timbral qualities that you can't get from a double bass.
Right. Yeah, I'm totally a electric bass person.
Yeah,
by far.
Would you ever play a 5-string?
I don't really see a point.
Me either. But people who have them, they're like, I gotta have that low B. I'm like, when?
Criticism aside, again, I am nodding along to this music as I listen to it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Immediately after I wrote that, I started like browsing online, and I noticed that I was like, all of a sudden, like, oh shit, I've been looking at Reddit for like 5 minutes.
Here's the thing, though, is like this music is good for that, though.
Yeah, it's good for
and
that.
And that's like the problem, the conundrum we were running
So
into.
I think that's good to bring it up because it is really good for listening, but it's bad for analyzing.
Exactly.
I really lost myself. I lost everything. So it was just kind of more jazz that I had missed. And that's. I noticed fatigue at this point.
Interesting.
I had like a moment of fatigue, and I was like, I got to come back to this. I'm trying to move this over here. Let me see if I can get this off this shot.
Apparently, I actually really like the drums in this one. I don't remember, but I wrote down I really like the drums in this one. So,
okay.
I feel like I can't argue with my past self on that one.
Yeah. It does sound like Steely Dan a little bit. You brought up Steely Dan, and I brought it up. It does sound like that.
I have a note here that says it has like a rock element to it in a way.
It does. It does, and for what it's worth, I like this a lot more than Earth Radio.
Yes, same.
And like it's probably going to be surprising to them. What do you think?
I think it will kind of be surprised. I think if you know us, you'll be like, oh yeah, like these guys actually like talking about music and learning about like music, how to like play music more interestingly.
Yeah, and it's much different. There's like so much more difference to this kind of music than what we've been reviewing. So that's very interesting.
I think this would have been cool to have like a rapper over it.
Okay.
I think there's like some cool, like either if they rocked it out or if they had like some
samples.
Some hip hop
Maybe
elements to it.
people who are making tracks and just sample it or something, you know?
Yo, if you sample this, that'd be fire.
That'd be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
It got kind of hard to listen to. Like in this state, it's long.
Mm-hmm.
And like that kind of like I just took a break. I got fatigued, took a break.
Yeah. I mean, the song does kind of move around in a lot of different ways, but I did find the transitions to be like pretty seamless. Because at first I was thinking like, oh man, like how did we get to here? And then I was like, and then the next time that happened, I was like, oh, that's interesting. We're in like this different vibe, and I didn't really even notice that happen. That's actually like,
it is pretty proggy.
Yeah, like that's like pretty impressive in a way that like it kind of just changed the vibe over time, and I was just like,
yeah,
okay with it.
I think around here I start thinking about the album art again, and I start kind of thinking like I don't know if this was like the right fit for this music. Like I would have liked something almost like, I don't know, like kind of like postmodern or just like modern art, kind of like, or geometrical or something. I don't really know.
More of that Earth Radio art.
Yeah,
like, that would have been perfect for this.
I think so too. And like I like the artwork, but I don't know if I like it attached to this music per se.
I don't. By this time, I'm like, this album art doesn't fit this music.
Yeah. Like, do you want to go to the next song?
Yeah.
It's called Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm kind of like, I don't really know what else to say about this music. I don't know.
I have some more notes about this type of music.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and take the lead here, because I think I got a little tongue tied listening to this. I think I got a little fatigued.
For this one, I was like, this is like their fun one. This is like, they're like, all right, we're playing Frankenstein. Like this is kind of has like some more like jazzy elements that they like learned in school and stuff. And they're just like, oh yeah, this is kind of like us goofing around here. I don't know. It just had like this real playful vibe.
Nice sax, nice trumpet.
Yeah. And actually my mind changed about this one because I listened to this record again today. But when I first listened to it, I was like, this song's kind of cringe. And then this time around, I was like, this is actually probably one of the better ones on the record.
You got that from the second listen.
Yeah.
That you went from cringe to liking it.
Yeah.
I think that happened with some of the Ryan Experience stuff.
Totally.
Made me have a cringe to godly.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I have some interesting notes here, but okay, full disclosure here, by this time I'm considerably stoned off an edible.
It's a full disclosure moment.
Did that help?
It did.
I do think that does help with music.
Yeah.
I think people that enjoy music, there's a lot of people that consume weed and like listen to music. It happens.
Yeah.
Go hand in hand.
Especially I feel like with jazz. Like if you're not smoking weed while listening to jazz, like you're probably not living your life to the fullest.
Hey, they call them jazz cigarettes for a reason, right?
Hey.
Yep.
I have a note that says this one feels less like jazz and just more wrong notes. Okay,
yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I think I get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot as like jazz sounds, but they're still doing like the jazz like scales.
Yeah. It's a lot of that.
Yeah. It has not clean guitar though, which is great. There's like a little drive in the guitar.
There is on this one, a little bit of distortion.
Yeah.
It's good to have more jazz to talk about in town, and I'm okay with jazz musicians. And like, hopefully they know that this review here is going to be as even-handed as we can get it. Nice sax, nice trumpet. We'll do album credits at the end. I have. Make sure to do album credits here. You want to go to the next one?
Let's do it.
Jaga Jammin,
Jaja Jammin, or
Haga Jammin,
or Ha Ha Hamin, or Ya Yamin.
Juan Hamonen. Pleasing vibe.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, this all sounds fine.
Yeah, it kind of has more of that like Vince Guaraldi kind of tone. I can't tell if that's like what he's playing or if it's just the actual timbral element of the piano he's actually playing.
I think I know what you mean. I think it's a stylistic thing. I think there's influence.
That's what
there.
I kind of feel like too.
And he's a pretty big like piano player.
This one also has like some more guitar that's like not clean. Though I think. All right, here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's another rant.
Unload on me.
Okay, so I feel like jazz musicians, they're like, they love their instruments, like, so they have like this trumpet and they're like, oh, I've had that, like my grandfather had this trumpet and it's like a classic one.
They have their like, I mean, yeah, we have that. You probably have your main guitar.
Why is that not like that with, I feel like, jazz guitarists? I feel like a jazz guitarist is always playing like a Yamaha Pacifica Strat copy or or like an Ibanez hollow body or something.
There's a lot of hype. I think it's just an expense thing. I think if you want the really expensive hollow bodies, they're like $15,000.
Yeah, and then like the amps they choose is always just like,
yeah,
I don't know. I thought I would feel like if I was a jazz musician, I would want to have like sick guitar tone.
Yeah, I think that they have a different definition of good tone than we do.
And this is obviously totally biased being a guitarist, but like I think that they're just wrong.
I think you're not wrong in saying that either,
Like I think it's like objectively just not a good tone. Like I feel like that they have to agree with me at some point.
It sits in a weird place, man. It's fighting against that piano. The piano's plunking the fuck away like crazy. And what do you go?
And that's what
the guitar does sound kind of weak on this record as a result of that,
And that's where I go back into my idea of instruments claiming certain frequencies, and maybe the guitar has to be like that because it fills in a gap that all the other instruments are not getting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a better guitar player than drummer, but I'm still saying I could hang on drums, not jazz guitar. No fucking way.
No, absolutely not.
But I could play drums all fucking day on that.
Yeah, dude.
At this point, I'm kind of like noticing, like they recorded the sounds. They recorded like they went in the studio and they made the album sound the way the album sounds.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this album's taking me to the places I really want to go to.
No, it's they need to be, at least for what I'm looking for, is to get more psychedelic.
So I think there's like a cerebral aspect. There's also like a mood. Like it's almost not emotional enough. You know what I mean?
100% agree.
It's music. It's pretty. They play well. It's in key.
And I think this is where people get turned off by jazz, because I feel like jazz musicians are only making jazz music for other jazz musicians.
I think that maybe nowadays that's the case, know, and before it wasn't. But there are some really good jazz musicians nowadays that are making great stuff. But this doesn't, like, I don't know if I know enough about this genre to know if this is groundbreaking or not.
Like, to me,
Yeah,
like I feel like other jazz musicians would listen to this and, I think there would be like certain things they would do. It'd be like, oh, that's like fun, or like, oh, that's fun. They got playful with that thing, and that no one else is gonna notice.
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I was listening to this, and our creative consultant Cassie was listening, and she was like, "Oh, that's from that one song. Oh, that's from that one song." And she's a very, very, very casual jazz fan.
Yeah.
So like the fact that someone like that was picking out some things that are like, "Oh, that's just this. That's just this," and like, so. Maybe it's not like, not that groundbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely didn't get any kind of groundbreaking vibes.
No, but it has a lot of cool influences. I like the 50s influence. I like some of the Chicago style jazz influence. I like, there's some fusion-y stuff in the last stuff.
Yeah, I don't get that, like, again, like that visceral experience from this.
No.
I don't necessarily, I can't really hear that they're having like any fun while playing this. I
don't get any mood at all.
Yeah, it's very just kind of like, here's jazz.
Yeah. You want to go to the next song?
Yeah. Voodoo or Voodoo or Voodoo.
Yeah.
Apologies to Blushing Monk for us butchering your song names.
I think Voodoo.
It's just I've never seen it spelled that way.
Voodoo.
Maybe it's
a Voodoo.
Oh, a Voodoo. All right.
Yeah. I think this is like more on the 50s kind of jazz side that I like. I like the play between the trumpet and the saxophone.
Yeah.
I like the riffing and the harmonies. That like makes me feel like cool, and I'm happy that we go back to a vibe that I'm starting to feel this music more, because I don't want to not feel it.
Exactly. Jazz, I feel like it's supposed to be felt. And this is where the edible really kicks in.
Okay.
And my rants.
Did you
really,
write that in your notes?
I didn't, but I can tell by the length of my notes. Yeah, so monocle moment, maybe, if you will. But here's the thing with this song is like this whole album is, I feel like they always like start out with like something cool in the beginning. There's like a line or like these weird bass sounds or like this kind of untraditional like piano ballad thing. And this song, it has like this cool kind of like Santana like guitar vibe, and I'm like, this is sick. And then all of a sudden they hit you with like just horns, and it's just the same jazz again. And like it got tiring over time because like
I felt that way too.
You know, and I was like, oh, like cool, we're trying something new, and then it's like, and they're like, all right, here's more just like jazz horns.
And that's the thing is that was my favorite part was like the just jazz horns.
Yeah,
you know, so like that's interesting that we're kind of split on that too.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just because I felt like the horns were like actually the least exciting thing. I feel like they were the ones not doing like experimenting at all.
Interesting. We're split on that too.
Yeah.
Then. Very interesting. Well, those were just like the phrases. We have these phrases. We come back to them. The bass and drums lock up, and then we jam in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we come back.
I just didn't feel any energy from their jams at all. I felt you know, it was just kind of just like, even when they were kind of doing any kind of bends and stuff, like it was just kind of like. It
kind of felt to me like here's your allotted space. You're gonna do a solo from here to here to here to here. Then the bass gonna come in. Then we're gonna drop down. Do this.
Not a lot of dynamics in them. It's just kind of like they're kind of almost like living in this like same. I feel like they weren't ever like pushing their instrument ever.
So yeah, that's all I have about this. You have any more about Voodoo?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, let's go.
All right,
load it up.
So this is where I kind of get into the point of like how it was recorded, but also with this, I'm wondering if jazz needs to be like a way to analyze jazz is to talk about it less as like a whole, but like it's more about like the moments with jazz. Like there's always like really cool moments. And I feel like that's like a big part of a jazz is because like you kind of you're not like being like, oh, that was a great song. You're like, oh man, like you hit this groove and it was like, or you know, you did this, you modulated this chord in a weird way, or like there's always like these interesting moments, and that's where like the real live is, especially when you see it live in like a club. Yeah, you know, you can tell when they're kind of going off. And you're like, this is awesome,
right? It is like it's always been like a challenging music I think to record live, and I think since the beginning, but they did it, and there are good jazz albums that aren't live, you know, that are done like either semi multi-tracked or not.
Yeah,
I just don't know if this is groundbreaking enough to be anything more than a cool recording by a local jazz group, and there's not that many, so that's what we get. You know, like jazz people will like it. You want to go to the next song? You got any more on this one?
No.
Working title, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't like that title.
No, I don't either. That should have been a working title.
Yeah.
This is just kind of sort of nonsense music.
I have this like this is kind of more of the same.
I have do dee do do dee do do. That's all it is.
Let's see what my notes say. Okay, this would be a really good time to have like a slow song on the record.
A really, really slow
really slow burner. And
really slow.
I feel like that was a real missed opportunity here.
I don't think they had anything going besides we have these 6 songs, let's record them.
Yeah.
You know, we these are our 6 songs we've played live or we composed these. There's no like mood or like anything to this stuff.
No.
I don't know. So there's like one more song after that one, right?
But more going back to this song and just like this record, I think another thing I was trying to like work out in my head is with like jazz music, are they trying to write songs or are they trying to write music?
I think it's both. I think that like you can like create a riff that's so good that it becomes a song over time that people eventually morph on it. I don't know what the state of jazz is now, and if
I don't
do
know
that.
And that's where I think
good question.
Where maybe jazz musicians kind of get lost with recording music is when you're recording something. I feel like you have to record songs. Yeah. It's to some extent.
We don't have a lot of experience criticizing jazz, so like I think everything we say we got to take with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
But I think we'll come back to this and be like, were these songs?
I think these are really
whatever?
good points, and I think they're really going to appreciate these questions, though.
Yeah.
And I think like there's no doubt that they created some music, but like I don't necessarily think they like crafted songs.
No.
This is kind of same with Earth Radio.
Right. That is true. I think I'm just like I'm for some reason trying to frame this music into something different than Earth Radio, even though it's some of the same people. Yeah. And it's still just music, right? Yeah. I can't be like, oh well, jazz is some kind of Sigma music, you know, that is like that lies beyond all classification of music. It's not. It's just music.
That's all I have to say about that one.
Okay, last song.
Yeah.
What's this thing called?
Rumble.
Okay. I kind of write this album was kind of a chore. at this point, and I'm kind of glad this is ending.
Mm-hmm.
I do write that I think jazz people will like it. If you don't like jazz, you probably are not going to like this.
Yeah.
But if it's accessible, it is accessible. And this last track was kind of just like, I didn't like it at the level where I could just be like, all right, I'm going to wrap up my thoughts on this record.
Gotcha. I was at the perfect like peak of high at this point, so I was like really into the sound design, and I could really appreciate this one.
Hey,
just on like but I don't like, had I not been, I don't think the song would have resonated with me as much.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, if I think if you can get a really good listening experience out of this, that's great. That is a testament to the strength of the record.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said too, like I like this enough where I think I'm just being nitpicky.
Yeah,
you know.
I think like with jazz specifically, like I almost feel like they're trying to like make music like in a vacuum, and that's just like not the case with music. I think it's like having like context over your space, your equipment and stuff. Like I think that all that really actually does matter and adds difference. And I think we talked about this in our last episode about the idea of like these people would put speakers on stage, and because you're only supposed to experience music by audibly, but I feel like it's more than that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know, that's why I think it would have been nice to hear some kind of space in these songs, or them like utilizing some studio tricks, you know, to really kind of, you know, have fun, you know, and like explore more like actual sound elements.
Interesting. Like, I don't know. I think that this is just not groundbreaking, you know? And so it's going to be a little bit biased where we're approaching this. And like, if we were like, whoa, this is fucking amazing, then it's going to probably have reached that groundbreaking level.
Yeah.
Maybe this is really good jazz.
I mean, overall, I think this is a good record.
I almost consulted some jazz heads about this one.
Ooh, that might be a good one for like a live stream.
Yeah, I almost consulted
heads.
some of my jazz heads to be like, hey, will you give me some proper language to talk about this record? You know, so I figured that's a full disclosure moment there.
Yeah.
It's a full disclosure moment.
And that train of thought, though, I think it's more interesting to like try to describe it without jazz terms.
Yeah.
I know, like when you're in the studio with a engineer, like it's almost better to try to describe the sound you're going for with not like studio things, because what you think you want is probably not what you really want, and
that's what I think that happened with the stand-up bass and the electric piano. I have here again like electronic piano, and it's a monocle moment for me.
Interesting. I love electronic piano.
I like it okay, but I don't know if it needed to. I could hear it. I can hear the key. It's a keyboard. It's a Casio. You know, I know it's not, but that's what my brain is telling me.
Yeah, I think that's
plunking around on this little.
Yeah,
ding, ding,
I think
ding,
that's
ding.
just a personal thing at that point.
Hey, music's personal, buddy.
It is. That showbiz, baby.
This record has a really good track one.
Yeah, the track one is like
there's a really strong track one. Even track 2, track 3, it kind of loses me as it goes on.
I think that actually my two favorites were the first and the two longest ones. Surprisingly,
were the first ones?
Yeah, like the first song.
Okay.
And like the 2 9-minute ones were actually my favorites.
I really don't like how this album ended.
Yeah, I thought it could have been. I liked the idea of it.
Like is this how you want to end an album? I don't know.
No, I think that would have been a cool idea, maybe to throw in like as a segue, like a 15-second segue kind of thing that kind of like morphs into a song, maybe. But I guess I don't really understand like what they're trying to achieve with that outside of just trying to be like experimental.
Yeah.
For experimental
Maybe it
sake.
should have been way slower and way more down. Like, is this good jazz? Was this record good jazz?
I think so, actually.
Yeah, I kind of think so.
I think
like, would you? I'd be happy if I was in a bar and this group was playing this record its entirety. I'd be like, hey, that was pretty tight, actually.
Yeah, and I bet it's even better live because I bet you get to have that visceral experience. You get to see them having fun and trying new things and really there's some true improvisation.
Yeah, I don't really like have many issues that aren't nitpicky with it, but I do wonder, like, from a jazz. Will a jazz head think this is good?
I think they would, actually.
Cool.
I think at least some of it.
Maybe we'll get a listener. If you're a jazz head, please send us an email at bandscamp@gmail.com. If you're in a jazz band, send us your record if it came out in 2020, 2021. Either of those.
Either of those things. We'd love to have
We
conversations.
don't have the language around this, and so whatever. Maybe that's the limitation of this episode. Maybe they will like that. Maybe the listener will like that. Maybe they won't. Right?
Yeah, I think the real question we're all trying to get answered is: do jazz players also say to other jazz players, "sick set, dude"?
Yeah, they call it like something else. So like,
Yeah.
I have a gig.
Yeah, they have
call
a
it
gig.
gigs. They say sick gig.
They have sick gig, and they have like they're not songs; they're like pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm play this piece.
They count 5, 6, 7, 8.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They use rods.
Yeah.
Or they use brushes. They don't use rods.
Yeah. They use brushes.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's not a cardinal sin, but
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about an hour on this record. You want to wrap this up?
yeah, did they get there?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, they did.
Mhm.
I don't know if this is groundbreaking. I have a suspicion it's not.
I don't think it is, but I think that's like at this point, it's like what you just been saying this whole time. It's
Would
just
you-
like nitpicky stuff at this point.
Would you recommend or listen to this again?
I would actually.
I don't know if I would listen to it again, but I'd recommend it. I'm going to recommend this. I'm going to try to get some other ears on it, some jazz head ears.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
I'm
about
not
that.
done with this one. Listener, let us know what you think
Yeah.
at bandscamps@gmail.com.
How about a rating? Let's give it a quick rating.
Oh, okay. So my rating for this one is I'm going to say a lawnmower starting the very first time.
Interesting. I'm gonna say picnic table.
Okay. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Let's take a short break
Let's take a short break.
and we'll come back. Maybe I'll even pause these things, give our computer a break.
Whoa.
I know.
Yeah, we can kind of do that stuff now, right?
We can do all that stuff.
Wow.
I know. Listener, thank you for watching. This is episode 14.
Give him the tech shot again.
Tech shot. Okay, so if anyone's curious, we are doing we're taping through XSplit over here. Video, and then we have it going through Pro Tools. We got a mic here, camera here, and we got some lighting up there. Yeah. Hello, listener, and welcome back to Band Scamps, episode 14.
We're in the trenches here.
We are deep in the trenches.
We're deep. We're rolling in the deep.
Yeah. We're coming to you on video.
On video, pop-up video.
This is the second time we've done video. The first time, I don't know if that's going to see the light of day. We're going to see how good we ended up with it. But this is the second time.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about more music. Some things real quick we can talk about. If you got an album you want us to review, 2020, 2021, if you're from West Michigan and you want us to review it, send that album over to bandscamps@gmail.com.
The wait list is not that long anymore.
No, we're catching up.
We're kind of catching up here at this point, so we want to hear some more music from you.
Yeah, we got a few more to go, and then we need
We'll need it.
We need it. Yeah, we needs it.
I'm gonna be like on my hands and knees begging at some point.
I hope it doesn't come to that.
No, I won't want that. I will just hunt you down.
I wholeheartedly hope
Yeah.
it does not come to that.
Has anyone visited our Patreon page lately? If you haven't, you should at patreon.com/bandscamps. It is the coolest and sexiest way to support the podcast.
Yeah, it's been really great. It's motivating for us to make more things, and also it helps support the stream. It does cost a little bit of money to make this happen, and so that does kind of pad the blow for us a little bit, so we can keep bringing you more and more content as you support us.
Exactly, and I don't see another stimulus check coming our way.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Any help we can get, like even if you just want to throw us $1 here and there, that's sick.
And if you are interested in supporting us further, we are offering episode sponsorships, any type of sponsorship deal. We do reach thousands of people weekly. We do this episodes every Tuesday, and we also do live streams on the weekend. So if you want to get involved in sponsoring that in some way, that's great too.
Yeah, the only thing we really can't play is anything from like if you want to spread a message about like Q or something.
No, we're not going to do that.
We can't do that. So.
No Q messaging.
No Q messaging. Otherwise, any of the other letters we'll take though. We can do some M messaging.
Anything around there. T,
Yeah.
R,
Yeah.
V. V for Vendetta. Do you just want people to watch V for Vendetta? Send us $25. We can make that happen.
We can make that happen. We'll just play that which is against the law.
I want to give a big shout out to all the patrons right now. Everyone, especially at the VIP level.
Hey.
You are making this happen for us, and we thank you. Come join us on Discord, everyone else. Yeah. Become a patron and join Discord.
Yeah, if you want to be one of our favorites, get on the
It's easy.
Patreon. Yeah, it's easy.
We respond well to bribery. Someone on the
Exactly.
Discord asked about bribery, and we said,
Yes.
we absolutely love being bribed.
Yeah. I shared a picture of a groundhog on my picnic table this morning on the Discord.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of cool content you're missing out on.
Yep, you don't want to miss that.
No. Otherwise, yeah, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram at bandscamps_, find us on TikTok at bandscamps, and again, submissions to bandscamps@gmail.com. All
Perfect.
right.
Want to jump in?
Let's do it.
So we got another record coming to you. This was submitted to us through email. And the record that we are doing is called Underground.
Message, I think it's called Underground, and it came out February 21st of last year
By the band Moto.
Yes.
The record is Underground by the band Moto, and it came out, when was that again?
February 21st.
Okay, perfect. So this is another early one, huh?
Yeah, another pre-pandemic
So
record.
probably same thing.
Same
We're going to
thing.
play some shows, maybe book some out-of-towners, maybe some power weekends,
Power Weekend.
and the pandemic happened.
Man.
So good to know. I actually didn't listen to this one with that in mind. I was wondering, like, how far in the pandemic timeline were we with this one?
Mm-hmm.
So good to know.
Good to know. Context is important, folks.
So let's go to first impressions, huh?
First impressions, this is not the Moto that I remember.
Interesting. Definitely rock.
Yeah.
Rock music off the bat. I can tell we're in for something quite a bit different. When did you listen to this one? First, but before Blushing Monk, or after?
After.
Me too.
So
Was there a reason? Was there a reason for that choice? You probably had a deliberate reason for it.
Full disclosure, I thought that it was going to be a chore to listen to Blushing Monk. So
I felt the same way.
So
and
I was like, I'm going to get this out of the way.
you know, I kind of wondered if both albums were going to be a chore,
Yeah.
and so I was like, okay, maybe I'll go with maybe I'll be like ready to hear rock music by the time I'm done with that Blushing Monk stuff.
Exactly.
And I don't think it was as impactful.
And I don't
as
think
was
we
hoping.
got the rock music that I anticipated, at least for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my experience with Moto, I'm just giving you, I have a bunch of full disclosure moments here.
It's a
Full
fine.
disclosure, I haven't seen Moto
moments.
probably in quite a bit, at least maybe like even 10 years.
Seen them like
Live.
as a live band.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and when I saw them, they were like a rock band. Like,
Kind of butt rocky.
yeah, like butt rock, like kind of like almost like they obviously have like the metal influences. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So another thing going on first impressions, we gotta mention the album art.
album art.
Album art's
yes.
just like kind of like blue flower, rose kind of
Yeah,
thing.
It's got their
It seems like it's like a tattoo art, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It seems kind of 90s.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like this band is kind of a 90s band. Did they
I mean,
start
they-
in the 90s?
I bet they did.
They've been around for a while.
They've been around for a long time.
They're kind of a Grand Rapids like mainstay band.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure they're all that popular like amongst the whole scene, but they do have a fan base.
Yeah, you can tell. I bet this band probably played 10 Bells.
Oh, 100%. 10
Yeah.
Bells, Radio Tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liquid Room, maybe?
Oh, man. Where was Liquid Room at?
I don't know. That was even before my time.
Okay,
you
wow.
know? So I just know about these things.
Yeah. So it's kind of got a 90s vibe.
It's got a 90s vibe.
So the first track is called A Message to the Underground.
Yeah,
And we mentioned that it's a rock song.
Yeah. But it starts out with like an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, DI.
Yeah, like a DI acoustic thing.
Well, that kind of right away bothered me.
Yeah. That was an interesting choice.
I don't think it worked, and I think we can talk about this more because I come back to it too. You know, with this DI guitar, but right away I'm not really crazy about that. The vocals are nice and clear.
Yeah, we can hear the vocals.
That's really nice. It's nice to hear like actual okay, we can hear the vocals, so
Yeah.
we don't got to worry about that kind of critique.
Yeah, sorry. So you don't get that bingo space this
No,
time.
sorry. And no vocals in the last one, so
No.
that's not going to be good
Yeah.
there. Nice groove on the it's coming in.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
like poppy, you know, or you know, it's catchy.
It's got pop. It's got some metal, a little bit of metal guitar coming in.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is like, I was like thinking like, did this band go pop? And then all of a sudden like this metal guitar came in, and I was like, oh, okay.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was cool.
I've heard about the guitar player here in this group, and for a long time, and so it was nice to hear on this record some really nice guitar work. Actually,
Really good.
Yeah.
This type of guitar playing is hard to do.
Yeah,
It's like super technical and like involves like actual like physical techniques to do like the sweeps and stuff.
Yeah,
and that stuff's hard.
It was really nice. You know, I like to hear more of that guitar work.
Me too.
Out of this band, the chorus comes in really nice build up. I like to hear build in a chorus. Could have been more. The vocals kind of like had this additive thing where they added so much it took away.
Interesting. I wonder if they were like even like phasing out frequencies or something.
So many layers.
Yeah.
There was a lot of layers of vocals, and I kind of wish that was a little more refined. It was going for this build, but I think it ended up taking away.
I mean, it's got like the anthem feel for sure.
Oh,
you know,
100%, 100%.
Like you want to like pump your fist when you sing this song, like
Yeah.
So, you know, like the song's kind of all over the place, but I think they like really blended the genres like pretty well. Actually,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Did you like it as you were listening to this?
I did. I think
that
it grew on me. At first, I was like, "This is insane," and then I was like, "This is actually like really well done."
Yeah.
Like the craftsmanship of like what they're doing.
The couple times that I noticed like were bothering me were like that DI guitar and some of the vocal stuff, but overall I was like, hey, I kind of like this.
Yeah,
I'm actually kind of enjoying this music.
Yeah,
and I kind of wasn't really expecting that.
Me
entirely.
Too. It really nails like the, you know, again like these are kind of like scene veterans, and like you kind of see why now. Like,
yeah.
You know, even if this music maybe might not be like the coolest thing now, but like they still do what they do well, and that shows.
So pretty good like first track on this little. It's like an EP, right? This is kind of a short thing. Next song is called Major
Blood.
Major Blood.
I think Blood. It's BLUDD.
Oh, I didn't see an L. I saw Major Bud.
I mean, that's cool too.
Okay.
I think it's Major Blood though.
So my first note on this sounds like our buddy Ben Hunter.
Yeah, and more liner notes. Oh, we should revisit. We didn't do the liner notes.
I was just thinking about that. We'll add them at the end here.
But liner notes. Ben Hunter did record and produce this record. So it definitely kind of has this like his influence, and I think he's good friends with all these folks too. This one is more all over the place in the same time.
Yeah, it really is.
But it has like that Bowie vibe. That's I think the Ben Hunter you hear. That's some of it, you know.
Do you think he did any backup vocals on here or anything?
He must have.
I think there's definitely a hand. Either he's influencing them or they're influencing him, or a little bit of both.
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
There's definitely a very specific sound. It's kind of Bowie meets hard rock. It's a little epic.
Yeah, it's
a little
like
driving.
It's like new metal-y, but kind of emo at the same time.
I got a lot of emo out of it.
Okay, good.
I'm glad you said that. There's a couple times where really, really like it's show in a really good way, like in a really kind of like more interesting than I was expecting way.
A few weeks ago, we went with a live stream with Nate Jonovan. We talked about emo at length, and it was interesting to hear a different perspective on emo, because I think you and I agree, just kind of like on what emo is. But Nate was kind of on a different page, and those were shocking to me, actually.
Right. I mean, like I call into question his sincerity about all that, but I mean, like, you know, it's true. Like conversations about genre is very hard, especially emo is a very hard one, and we threw a genre of butt rock out there. You know, what is butt rock? But I feel like it's another one of those things where you know it when you hear it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Some really nice guitar work on this record.
Yeah, really
right.
Good.
Another one on this track. There's like some cool metal stuff and like, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I could play some of this stuff. It's like, it sounds like pretty technical. It's cool.
Yeah, it has. It's very thought out and it's layered. You know, there's layered harmonies, and so they're a combo, right?
Yeah.
So there's like some studio tricks to make the guitar. It's not like he's gonna be playing all this stuff all the time. I'm not crazy about some of the cymbals on these drums.
I was just gonna say something feels off about these drums, and I think it was the cymbals.
They're really high.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a matter of his playing, because man, you know, like when you got that right hand just cha cha going, it's kind of hard to just even tune that down, but then only hit with your left really hard or whatever.
Right. And I'm sure you've experienced this, like when you play live, like you're close to the drummer, and when they're like wailing on like a ride or a crash, sometimes it just hits you in the ear just the right way. Yeah. And you're just like,
My old band Wildfire, Nate, the singer, he was a drummer, and he would, every drummer we had, he was like, stop hitting the cymbals so hard, please. Like, please, like, hit with hard with your left hand, your right hand less hard.
Exactly.
You know, it's hard to do.
It is hard to do.
It's one of the hardest instruments, right?
Yeah, but like, and that's interesting because like the cymbal work is so important in jazz, and less about like the snare and kick, and then but with rock music, it's just about the kick and the snare.
It's kind of more of an ambient instrument and an accent instrument.
Exactly.
And the kind of brings my next point. The songwriting is really good on here.
It really
surprisingly.
Is. Yeah, like it's
I don't know why.
Epic.
So,
you know?
Yeah, it's actually pretty catchy. It's actually pretty good. And that's where cymbals, you know, you're going to start eating into your really valuable parts of the music.
Right.
When the cymbals are just for the sake of the drummer because they're fun to hit, right? It's fun to hit cymbals.
Yeah, like the cymbals are supposed to be an accent to something, not like necessarily like a drone.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I really kind of am enjoying this at this point. This is track 2, and I'm in.
I think my kind of also sonic trouble with this is I think it was just like a little too squishy, and like compressed.
They were going for volume, right?
Yeah, and it was almost to the point where it was like kind of hurting my ears in a way.
I think you're right. Do you think that there is kind of an anti-compression trend happening more now with some stuff?
I think just people don't know how to use it. It's hard to like get the hang of it first.
I'm not saying that they are doing that, but I mean, like, is there kind of a backlash now to lack of dynamic in music? It's just like more loudness war kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's like more of that kind of thing where like dynamics versus peak volume.
I don't know. I think it depends on how you use compressor. And I think people who don't know how to use it just use it for volume, where it's not really.
I don't really know how it works. I slap it on our podcast to get it loud enough, and then I put a limiter on it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
This stuff's pretty good though. Do you got any more notes for this song?
Nope.
Okay. The next one's called Retrophiliac.
Yeah, I like this. I like that title. That's funny.
I can tell Ben had a hand in this.
Yeah.
It's very much his aesthetic.
Yeah,
I can tell right away again with this track.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like the first thing I thought of is it's like the Cars plus metal. Kind of. I had some Cars vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just with that like kind of like that kind of like poppy element that the Cars have, you know.
They have a lot of pop, but it's like comes from like a punk energy.
Exactly.
That's like a restrained punk energy.
Yeah.
I can see that. This band would be cool with some keyboard in it, with like a synth player.
If they went like full like Cheap Trick, like that'd be.
What if they had like a synth with his leads? You know, like doubling up his leads. Like that'd be really cool.
That'd be awesome.
Again, I have another note here. The electric acoustic is really getting to me at this point. It's
just not a good sound.
So and here's why, listener and artists, like I start not wanting to turn it up. You know, I want to like it's too loud or whatever, and so I turn it down, turn it down, and then all of a sudden I'm not rocking anymore. You know, and I like those electric guitars. I like his riffs, but I can't turn it up loud enough because the fucking acoustic's hurting my ears.
Yeah. For those who maybe aren't familiar, like the way that acoustic pickups work, they really only elevate certain frequencies that are at times like unpleasant if they're too loud, and if it's not mixed well, it just cuts through so obnoxiously. And
it doesn't help that the acoustic guitar is like the hardest instrument to mic, you know, to make it sound good. Mm-hmm. So you have this easy option of, well, I know this sounds good live. I know this serves me live. I know everyone can hear me. No one said anything bad about this, so let's just DI it.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think so. And it's not, they don't do DI the whole album.
No.
There's there's a song coming up that has not DI acoustic guitar.
Not DI acoustic
and that
guitar.
was like, okay, we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But, it really, really bothered me. But
yeah.
A lot of things I like about this still, more Bowie influence, you know, really,
exactly.
really cool.
The Bowie influence is cool. I love just kind of the seamless like flow into these genres, and you're just like, I don't know, it happened all the time, but yeah, it was so like pleasantly unexpected each time.
Yeah, there was a lot of surprises. I listened to this one twice. Mm-hmm. I listened to when I did my major notes, and this morning I was like, "Oh, this is a refresher this afternoon," and I kept it on longer than I thought, and I was actually really enjoying it. When it ended, I was like, "Oh, listen to that whole thing again."
Yeah.
So there's some really nice things in here.
The hard part for me with the genre changing or the vibe changing thing is it's really hard to catch that groove and the vibe. You know, like you're like, "Oh yeah, they're chugging, like this feels cool," and then all of a sudden it's like halftime Bowie thing, and then
it keeps changing.
Yeah, it keeps on changing, and you're just like, you know, you really can't like lock in.
Like when it's always epic, it's never epic.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
I think I get what you're saying with that.
Yeah.
I heard a lot about this guy's guitar playing. Like I said, I've heard a lot of things as him being like a formidable force in Grand Rapids music. And I think that he lives up to it. Yeah, he lives up to it 100%.
Absolutely.
I came ready with my monocle in both eyes.
Dang.
For this one.
You had glasses, basically.
Yeah, but they're monocles.
Right, they're monocles.
They're bonocles. Bionicles.
Bionicles.
Is that a thing? There is Bionicle, isn't that? Is that a? Oh man.
I don't know.
Another pretty catchy song.
Yeah, these are good songs.
Yeah, they're
good songwriting.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Maybe that's rude, but I am.
Yeah.
Want to go to the next song?
Yeah. Eternal Toxic Love. This sounds like a Ben Hunter song too, just like that title.
Yeah. They do this heavy thing that suits them, right? But it really gets into some butt rock territory that I stop being comfortable with. You know?
Yeah. I feel like I I can get along with butt rock, okay, more than like maybe like difficult jazz or something.
Yeah.
Just because I love like dad rock. You
Yeah,
know?
it's really close to dad rock. I mean, it's the dad rock of our era.
Like I love hair metal and stuff too, so I can
and that
vibe
almost
with that.
gets there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets into this territory that I'm like, I'm really not into. I stop liking, but I can see why people would like it.
This song,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, this song is like what I expected to hear on track 1.
I think you're right.
You know,
this sounded more like what I thought I was going to be in for. They want to rock, like it's obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to rock, but that might be working against them a little bit sometimes.
Yeah,
and I feel terrible saying that because they're a rock band, right? Why would I be like, oh, don't do that, you know? But
right.
like I feel like maybe that propensity to the rock is really holding them back from something really great.
Right. I have a really interesting note here that says this song has potential to be boring in a good way.
Interesting.
And I think this goes more along with them just kind of like changing the vibe every so often. I think like they would really benefit from just like a really solid like 3-minute rock song.
Yeah.
With nothing crazy, just like verse chorus, guitar solo.
Like almost
chorus.
like Weezer style.
Exactly.
You know, just like hit us over the head, give us that that guitar solo that just is like, oh my God.
Yeah, the guitar solo that just like emulates the vocal melody.
Right.
And, you know, I think this song would have been really good for that.
Yeah.
But then it kind of went off on this different thing. And I was like, man.
Well,
like,
he starts doing more of the Bowie epicness thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, like some of this like starts to sound a little silly. Like some of the vocals here like start to get into territory where I'm like,
Yeah, it gets kind of like almost theatery.
It just has a lot of, you know, and like,
right.
You can tell he's trying to sing nice, you know, and like maybe I want to hear his vocals be a little bit scratchy.
Yeah, I want some like grit,
some scream, you know.
Yeah.
And this kind of comes across. I noticed this, and then I have a note in the next track, but this artist Jeff Buckley, you know, some of this guy's vocals sound like Jeff Buckley a little bit. You know,
totally.
He's just kind of going for this little Jeff Buckley thing, and I don't hate it, but I still want to hear a little bit of rough, you know. And this has come up in a couple times where we want to hear like, look, you're a singer, like you don't have to like sing like you're in fucking church or something, you know.
Exactly. It's and that's like a big like blues thing too. Like a lot of singers really are like. That's what it's kind of like the characteristic that we hear in blues music, in blues inspired music, is like they're actually really singing kind of like off key. They're not actually hitting notes in the scale. They're kind of living in between that, and actually sounds what we actually find pleasing.
They're just like finding ways to express themselves in ways that might be like have a cool grit to it, you know. And maybe that's why this band's it's not very cool.
Right.
You know, and maybe I don't want to think about that, but like maybe that's what it's missing is it needs this like cool factor that can really push it over the edge.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get there. You know, I don't know how to manufacture cool for other people.
That's hard too, because I feel like we want grittiness, but I think this album would really benefit from like a super, super clean like production.
I think that kind of has that here.
I think
you know?
it almost has that.
Okay.
But I think even more like on the polished side of like the Paul and type splits, kind of clean, like even just like some like, you know, kind of sparkle, kind of like things you can't really even like hear necessarily. But I think it was like the over compression is like what was really taking away from like any kind of like openness. I think it was just kind of like here's a rock record, and like I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I get caught up on some of these like sonic things.
It's hard. It's not an easy thing to just like apply language to stuff that is like, you know, and you have to assume that I know what you mean, you know, or that I have to trust that you are saying what you mean, you know, or whatever. I don't know.
Do you want
to go to the next track together? Here's an acoustic sounding thing that sounds better.
This is like a nice break after like what we've had. I was like, okay, this is, I think, a well-placed song on the record.
And this is a monocle moment for me because like the acoustic guitar sounds pretty good here.
It does.
Did they? I wonder if they thought it didn't sound good, and this was one of the first ones they recorded, and they were like, "We're gonna do the Rusty Eye" because that sounded like shit. You know.
I kind of think they were going for a certain aesthetic with this one because it's not necessarily like it's like a roomier sound with this one, and it kind of sounds, you know, like more like the fidelity is a little less on this one a little bit than the rest of the record. So I feel like they're trying to go for some kind of vibe.
Maybe. I just wonder if they did it first.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's a nice song though.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think it sounds fine.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
good
just too
song.
long.
I'm actually a little surprised I like it. You know?
Yeah, and I think that really speaks to the songwriting, because it's like again, like that's not necessarily my bag, but like I think it's just like a really like pleasant like ballad.
This is like where the Jeff Buckley comes in for me more too.
Yeah,
On this one.
I feel like if this the singer put out like a whole record like this, it could be like really nice.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like
Something
a
to consider.
little EP. Yeah,
Of all ballad stuff.
yeah, that'd be really nice.
Yeah. Anything else for this track? Scarleton.
Scarletons.
This band excels at genres that they don't do all the time. You know?
Yeah.
Like this one is more like their thing. This track again is more like their thing. And I'm kind of enjoying like missing the stuff that's like that surprised me more.
Yeah, like this is probably like the proggiest one on the record, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they end on a banger.
Yeah. I wish it was weirder. You know, I'm like I have here like less David Bowie, more Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
And I wish it got there to this like rocker thing. It's like it's always pushing this epicness that I don't know if I always have the energy for.
I don't think they even got there. Like, the ending was kind of weird.
Yeah, I thought so too. I wrote pointless ending. Hope Dan hates it.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Not because of the effect of though. It was just kind of like what?
Yeah, I had a feeling that would happen.
Yeah.
Decent EP though overall. You know.
Yeah.
And like
The
I
song
want to
has-
see like
yeah.
more, even like more AC/DC.
Yeah.
You know.
Like connect with your like the rock and roll vibes.
Yeah.
Like Cheap Trick, AC/DC, Thin Lizzy.
And I think they are. I think they are
Yeah.
connecting with the rock and roll vibes, but they're connecting to a very particular brand of it that they that they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And they really excel at the stuff that I think they are less comfortable in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're kind of living in between that, like, you know, like grittiness, but also like the epicness. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like they need to kind of maybe pick a lane to really, if they want to like hone their craft in, or they just kind of keep on doing what they're doing and just like maybe, you know, get other input from other people and try to, you know.
Yeah. They're a long-standing band, you know.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good release from a band that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really disappointing anybody. It's not like totally stale. Like, I think people will like this, especially I think fans of the band will like it.
And just like for someone who was kind of expecting like a whole like 40 minutes of butt rock, like this is like a really fun and pleasant listen. Like I really like this record. I think it's really good, actually.
Yeah, I think so too. I think overall it's good. So did they get there?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would actually.
I actually would too.
I think
people would be like, "Oh, check out this Moto band.
Yeah.
Great guitar work on it."
Like
We got album credits on here too.
Let's put them up. This is a song that would be like on GRD or something, you know.
Yeah, this record, yeah, totally. They could totally push it. Maybe they had plans to, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
One thing that we haven't really
Pardon
been
my phone
doing
here.
is that's okay. We've been forgetting to do album credits, so we're gonna do a quick segment here. This is album credits for.
Let's do Moto since
Let's
we
do
just
Moto.
talked about them. All right, Moto is okay. First of all, this is their 6th release.
Oh wow!
So, Moto is Christian Cooney on guitars and vocals, John Curtis on bass, and Scott Hickok on drums and bells.
Okay,
So just a 3-piece.
yeah, big sound for a 3-piece.
But they filled it out.
Lot
That's
of
nice.
overdubs and stuff on here, obviously.
Yeah.
I think some really interesting playing on it overall. Most of my nitpickiness is about like the recording of it. I think. And maybe some of the songwriting. I'd like to see some weirder stuff.
Recorded, mixed, and mastered at the Wolf Den by Benjamin Hunter, winter 2019 and 20. So they did it safely too, which is nice.
Nice.
Let's see here. Viola on the song Together by Leanne King of the Grand Rapids Symphony, and album artwork by Tyler Newkirk.
All right. This one came out before the pandemic, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So they there was nothing to plan around.
Exactly.
You want to do the Blushing Monk?
Let's get Blushing Monk. All right. Blushing Monk album credits for the album Serendipity. We have Brad Fritcher on trumpet on tracks 2 and 4, 5, 6, and 7. Caleb Elzinga on tenor sax.
Okay.
So you're right on trumpet and sax.
Good.
Dutcher Stedeker on piano, Rhodes, and synth.
Okay.
Olin Clark on guitar for tracks 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Stanley Ruvinoff, bass on tracks 1, 3, and 8.
Oh, two bass players.
Three bass players. Joe
No
Vasquez.
kidding. Okay.
Based on bass tracks 2, 4, and 7. Interesting. So there's two different bassists on the same track.
Okay.
So
I mean, decent cohesion and like the kind
that's
of
pretty impressive.
in some of the conceptual stuff of the bass. So there's some good cohesion going on here. I guess that's nice.
And then we have Jordan Otto for drums, tracks 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and Madison George on drums for tracks 1, 3, and 8.
Okay. Wow.
This was
a lot of people on it.
Yeah, this was tracked and mixed by Barrett Emmenheiser at Western Sound Studios. And that was only for tracks 2, 4 through 7, and then the rest of the tracks were done by Ian Gorman at La Luna Recording and Sound.
Okay, you think that first one's down in Kalamazoo maybe or something?
Something,
Yeah.
or it's Jupiter Jones.
Ooh.
Barrett Emmenheiser or Ian Gorman could be Jupiter Jones for all we know.
We're getting much closer.
We are getting closer. If you know anything about Jupiter Jones, please email us at bandscamps@gmail.com. Any leads are appreciated.
Ratings
for Moto's Underground. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a power washing the dock.
I'm gonna give this one Call Waiting.
Ooh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I was watching a Real World episode where they were mad about the call waiting situation.
Oh my!
And I was like, "There's a
gosh.
problem we've solved."
Yeah.
Like someone's calling, but you're on the phone and you like don't want to hang up. You know,
what a nightmare.
I know. Listeners, thanks for sticking with us and listening to us and supporting us for this whole season. It's been pretty much a whole season. Maybe we'll do it every year. It'll be a season or something. You know?
Yeah. Also, let us know what other content you want to see from us.
Yep.
We're open to most things.
Mm-hmm. Now we got a nice little setup over here. We're doing our thing. Go back to the tech again. We're kind of just hanging out back here in this tiny little room, but we got a little studio going.
Everyone who listens to the podcast will already know this already, but we started a collaboration with blog What Else Is There?
Oh yeah,
for New Music Mondays.
Yeah, every Monday we're going to be partnering with our friend Josiah from What Else Is There, posting all the best singles from over the weekend. Music comes out on Friday, and every Monday we're going to have a top 5 for you of our favorites.
So take a listen. Thank you, Josiah, for collaborating with us. It's really cool.
And be sure to check out What Else Is There on Tumblr and on the Spotify playlist. We'll put some links up with this episode so you can find them easily.
Otherwise, I think we covered everything.
This is good. This has been episode 14.
14.
Wow.
Let's next episode, or we don't have that planned, so we can't talk about it.
We don't.
So
we'll
never
be back.
mind.
We're gonna be back on Tuesday.
We're back on Tuesday. Every Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So
thanks for listening.
Bye.
This has been a Grand Rhapsody production. Executive produced by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez.